You've been doing it.
You trying to hear the song?
Trying to hear the song.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. What do you think of that kid giving Caitlin that gesture?
Well, Caitlin at the end of the game with South Carolina made a similar gesture, but not as emphatic. She went like this. Apparently, this is John Cena's thing, or somebody who goes like this.
You can't see me.
Mm-hmm. You can't see me. And she did it, but she did it like this.
Oh, she's pointing to the fact she's going to be wearing a ring.
Oh, yes, a ring, and then also went like, you can't
Talking
see
about
me.
college basketball.
But what made it worse is she followed her around the court for 20 minutes. I mean, if she did it one time, then it's fine.
Then it's Bush League.
Right.
It was a serious, although you're in trouble if you're saying that, because everybody's saying it's okay for Caitlin to do it, but it's not okay for these kids to do it.
Why am I in trouble? The hell with it. She's Bush League.
Yeah, but the LSU also, that was the worst officiated game I've ever seen in my life. And not LSU was better than them because they made shots. Right?
Yes.
LSU shot 19% on threes during the regular season, and they made them all yesterday. So they won the game. But the technical foul on, did you see the technical foul on Caitlin Clark?
Pat, we had no power.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So there.
Did you hear it on the radio?
No, I was listening to the Twins.
They called a foul on one of her teammates, dead ball, and she rolled the ball behind her. So they called it a technical foul, and in college basketball, a technical foul counts as a personal foul. So it gave her 4 fouls. And meanwhile, they're showing video of this lunatic, Kim Mulkey, who's the biggest jackass in college basketball, going back from 20-some years when they played the Gophers, and I watched them play. And she's dressed up like Bozo the Clown in this uniform, and she runs into an official. She basically pushes her out of the way, and nothing. She's ranting and raving. She's on the court half the time. No technicals were called on her.
She had a sparkly golden tiger-striped outfit.
She is an idiot.
Yeah.
And but she wins. She's won 2 or 3 national titles at Baylor, and now this one. They went portal. They went all portal and got a lot of money. Got a lot of players. And then they got a break when when Iowa beat South Carolina. But it was the big problem for Iowa was they called the kid from Watertown, who's the center who catches all of Caitlin Clark's passes and lays them in when they're chasing her. They gave her 2 cheap fouls in the first quarter, and she was in foul trouble the rest of the game.
Is Caitlin a Minnesotan?
No, she's from Des Moines.
She's from Des Moines. All right.
I must say, I said this on Twitter, and I also said this Friday night at the Wolves game to Jace Frederick from your paper and other people. I basically, discovered Caitlin Clark.
Really?
I watched her play a game against Michigan last January of 2002. And she made about 22. And she made about 6 32-footers to keep him in the game. It looked like Steph Curry at his best. So I said, I got to watch this kid play. So I went down to her high school, Dowling in Des Moines, and then I went over to Iowa City to watch her play the Gophers. And I came back and wrote 2 stories on her. So, of course, now that she's the number 1 talking point in all of college basketball, I was telling Jason I said, you guys didn't even know she existed.
Dad invented her.
You didn't know she existed until I went to Iowa last year. He said, yes, not even when she averaged 30 as a game as a freshman did anyone know she existed. Nobody had ever heard her. So I put that on Twitter, and then I put, note, you're correct. Sometimes I even amaze myself. Yeah. And these idiots on Twitter now are,
She looks like a wisp of a thing.
Oh, she is. But
the little kid.
She's 6. She's 5'9".
Well, she doesn't have a lot of meat on her bones.
Oh, God, she's skinnier now. Yeah. But she is relentless.
The best was the game against South Carolina on Friday when Super 70 Sports discovered Caitlin and just basically declared her this era's Larry Bird. He was he was all in on Kate. He goes, I realize I just discovered her 8 minutes ago, but I'm driving the bus.
Yes, right. Yeah, they love her in Iowa. Obviously, they
she's
follow
a junior,
her.
right?
She's a junior,
Yeah.
but she also can have a COVID year if she wants to. She can play 2 more. So they're already asking her. And she's not 21 yet, so she's not eligible for the NBA draft. I mean, the WNBA draft this year. You got to be 21. So she's only 20. So she's going to come back next year. But they asked her, are you going to come back to 2 years? And she basically said, the money's not much different.
No, she'll make a ton.
But now
off, yeah.
she's making more.
From namage,
she's got high B.
Nil.
She's got high B. Big, Iowa.
I didn't know that.
Big sponsor. And then she's got a shoe company, I think Adidas, and she's got an apparel company. But whatever she was making from these sponsors before, she's going to get double after this is all.
Are you aware of the twins who play for Miami?
Yes.
Hayden and Haley?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're worth a lot of money.
They're influencers on social media.
They were at Fresno State.
Yeah.
Now they have the advantage of being knockouts.
Right.
That helps them on Instagram,
What about LSU's got a knockout that's a nil star?
NIL.
And nil. And name, image, and likeness.
I don't know who that is.
I don't think it's this Angel Reese.
No, but
shoot, I don't know who it is.
Anyway, well, Instagram is huge in this, and young women are more Instagram fanatics than men, right? By a huge margin, Reavers?
I think so.
Yeah, so the women, like Paige Bueckers last year was the highest paid NIL player in the country.
Really?
But she keeps getting hurt, so she hasn't played for 2 years, basically. The Hopkins kid. But it could have been a wonderful game if the referees weren't the biggest idiots that ever lived. So
I just never understand why on the – and you'll see it sometimes in football – why we change the way we decide to call a game at the biggest moment. I don't get that at all, ever.
Yeah. Well, this, though, they were calling it. You can go back and check my timeline. I have always said the worst thing about women's, well, I haven't always said, but the last 10, 12 years since the game improved, the worst thing about women's basketball is the officiating because they get the idiots because the high-level men work the big conferences, and then the next level of officials work the little men's conferences, and then the women end up with the guys who aren't good enough to make the Division I men's basketball, and also the women who are trying to learn what the hell they're doing. And this tournament had all women officials, and they had one yesterday, Lisa Jones, who's worked 11 Final Fours and apparently is fairly competent. But the other 2, they had to go find at down the corner and bring them in. They were the 2 dumbest officials I've ever seen.
I dispute that that's the worst thing you've ever said about women's college basketball.
No, that's why I said the last 10 years.
Okay, that's true.
Because there is another blot on my resume. Yes, that goes back a long time.
It does.
That's why I got to stop saying that's the worst thing. Now.
Since.
Do I get BSNX?
Yeah,
or is that where I got to sign in?
It's 2 channels. No,
that's what used to be called the Plus.
Yeah, because that's the Wild and hosting Vegas tonight.
Why did? Because the Twins are on BSN regular.
Twins at Miami at 5:40 p.m.
Joe, there's a chance that'll be in the 8th inning by the time the Wild game starts.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I love the pitch clock.
I'm impressed. I didn't think I'd like it.
It's incredible.
Yes.
I have, I got the package.
Yeah.
And the Twins were starting Saturday at 1:10, right?
I thought it was 2 o'clock.
1:10.
Okay, 1 o'clock.
But there was about 6 or 7 games starting at 12:05 or 12:10. So the Twins were going into like the bottom of the 6th, maybe. I don't know what and I went and checked these other scores by looking at the station. Half of them were having their pregame show. Postgame show. It was unbelievable. That baseball did something right is just astounding, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
I forget. It was who's your gal covers the Dodgers? Molly. Is it Knight? Is that her name? She used to come. We had her on the show.
Okay,
but she had a great point. We're going to look back on what the pitch clock was to the way that basketball changed with the shot clock.
Yeah, it is.
She said we're going to look back on it the same way that we do with basketball.
And, everybody's going to be familiar with it, and
to the point where we took the boys to JetBlue on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Okay, for the rare Twins Red Sox spring training game. It started at noon, and we got there at 12:30. It was already in the fifth. It was already by the time we walked into
both of them were in a hurry to get over.
Oh yeah, they were both in a big time. Yeah, so it was probably.
So you parked at 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And got in there and it was a fifth.
I said the game's half over already.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It is. I mentioned this earlier today, but when the World Baseball Classic ended with Shohei Ohtani pitching to Mike Trout, and the at bat took 4 minutes because they didn't have a clock. 5 minutes. All these pompous national baseball guys said, "This is why they have to let the game breathe. At bats like this, you got to let the game breathe." There's 2,400 games a year in Major League Baseball. And you have one moment where you need the game to breathe. I'll take those other tens of thousands of moments that get the damn game moving. Like Yogi, the game hasn't moved like this since Yogi Berra was at the plate.
Right.
And they'd throw a pitch somewhere in the building and he'd swing at it,
Yeah.
So
to the point where watching a game last year with my two little guys, it was impossible to keep them. Now they'll actually sit and watch. And that's what baseball so desperately needed because the fan base wasn't getting younger.
Morney actually had a good quote. Morney said, "People can't even look at their cell phones anymore because they get hit with a foul ball."
Yep.
So it's unbelievable. You know what else I like, Joe? You want to replay a thing? Mm-hmm. Remember the waiting for the the umpire? 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You get 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you got so.
You get 15 seconds to call for a replay?
The umpire, if you're the manager, you would get, last year they'd take a minute and a half waiting to get the message.
Yeah. Don't get in the box yet. Hold on. They can't do that anymore.
15 seconds, boom.
Okay.
Here we go. So they're all going, no, don't, because they don't. The time when a guy slid into second and his fingernail came off the base and they called him out by putting the glove in, they don't have time to wait to look and see if that happened or not.
Good.
So they get the game moving. It's incredible. And even though my pessimism was when the season started, everything worked as it was supposed to down in Kansas City, including Joey Gallo hitting 2 home runs yesterday, the second of which was monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
So. But I still think he's going to hit 205. But
tonight we'll see our friend Luis Arraez,
who's 9 for 15 so far. 9 for 15. So.
The M's aren't supposed to be very good, though, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have good young pitching, but I don't know.
I think we're going to look back on that trade as a win for the Twins, though.
Well, if the guy stays healthy.
Lopez can pitch.
He looked really good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, Joe, I did this column on Tom Kelly for Sunday. Mm-hmm. I went out and watched the Thursday game,
which was great, by the way.
I went out, but I got to tell you, you know this as a writer, and you wait for the moment, right? Mm-hmm. And to hear something. So I finished it. I talked, and part of the column is going to be his buddies with his neighbors, snow blowing the driveways and stuff like that. And he's been in this neighborhood for over 30 years, and they're all his friends, and some of them have moved. But so then I know that he's a fan of Murder, She Wrote, which is, I'd never watched. I looked it up, 264 episodes. I never watched one.
40-year-old show.
Yeah. But he and his wife at 4 o'clock in the afternoon after he retired and he wasn't at the ballpark, would watch Married with Murder, She Wrote. Mm-hmm. And I'd heard that. And so some old show was on when I walked in to sit down with him on Thursday, but it wasn't Murder, She Wrote. But Friday morning, I said, I better call up and just to make sure that they did watch this a lot, because I'd heard that from his friends. Yeah, he's out. What's he doing? He's out watching Murder, She Wrote or something, So I called him up, and I got the cell phone of his neighbor that I wanted to talk to, and then I said, so are you still into Murder, She Wrote? And he said, no, not really. Yeah, no, not unless we have to. He said, they started having her moved. She went to England, and she went to Ireland. She went to all these other countries. We liked it a lot better when she was in Cabot Cove. So now I'm going to write about the neighborhood. And then, so I said, right then I said, I know where this column is ending. I just have to get, I don't know how I'm going to get there.
You're going to Cabot Cove.
Yeah, by the time this is over, we're going to be complaining that she moved out of Cabot Cove. So I was so, I didn't say anything, but it's that moment when you say,
thank you.
There it is.
Yes, yeah. Let's figure out how we're going to get there now, but we want to get to Cabot Cove.
Doesn't he get the hell out of here in the winter?
Nope. Well, he did but when the Twins changed regimes after 2016, he stopped going to Fort Myers because he wasn't bitter. They didn't tell him not to come. He just felt that they didn't really want to hear what I have to say, and he was probably right because
I'm going out to cut grass.
Yes,
I love that line so much.
And that's exactly what he was doing.
He was going to do that. Pat asked him if he's going to watch the All-Star game. Nope, I'm going out to cut grass. I love that line.
Yes, yeah. So he's got the new hip, and he's got the little cancer in the spot. I read your piece. In his lung, but he gave me a full description about the pill that migrates. They get. You know what? They're doing a lot of stuff with medicine, Joe. I don't know if you know that, but they give you a pill.
I didn't know that.
They give you a pill, and it knows where it's going.
Yeah, it's got a little mind of its own.
Yeah, it doesn't just go zoom. There, I'm going.
It's got its own navigation.
I'm going to hit that spot. So what a country! It's amazing. As everything else is screwed up, medicine still's got to figure. Oh, by the way, did you see who resigned today?
No.
Pouting all the way, Joan Gable.
Well, we did have that on the show, yeah.
Obviously she was upset with them when they made her, because she's going to Pittsburgh, leaving here, going to Pittsburgh.
Right.
Obviously she was upset when they made her give the
Securian Financial.
I thought she got that gig.
Yes, but they made her resign from that.
They made her resign from that about 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
She must have, I think was it the Board of Regents originally approved it, right? And
yes. Then they got so much public backlash that they said,
what has she accomplished here that she'd be worth anything to anybody else?
Oh, but it's a great.
They're a super
we've
club.
Talked about it. They are. They just move around.
Yeah.
They just go here or there. But how many have they had here now? That's about 3 in the last 7-8 years, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So
you want my long shot dark horse pick for the Masters?
I certainly do.
Brooks Koepka.
Really?
He just won his second live tournament.
Oh, he did? Okay.
He's back.
Because before that, the champion of the Live Club was Charles Hall IV or whatever, who hadn't won anything.
He shot 65, 65, 68.
Where were we playing?
We were playing in Orlando at the Orange County National, whatever that is.
Okay. All right.
Maybe it's a dog track.
Did anybody go watch it?
I doubt it.
I watched the one that they had in Tucson, and not many people were there.
But 17 live players are playing in the Masters.
Right? Ooh, yeah, this will be interesting. I wonder if they pranked everybody and paired them up.
I don't know.
Rory. I wonder who Rory's playing with.
I think it could be a golf version of a mob fight. And it'll be genteel, but it'll be the golf version.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is this the first major since all those guys left?
It was.
Oh, they were in business last year.
Yeah,
US
Open. They were. Okay. Okay.
But you got Reed is a champion.
Yes.
Dustin's a champion. Mm-hmm. Sergio's a champion. Who else is in live?
They'll all be
Phil?
at the dinner. They'll all be at the dinner.
Yeah.
Scotty
Phil?
Scheffler's dinner.
Phil's a champion. So there's going to be a lot of live past Masters champions.
Rory, however, is not a champion, so they won't have him at the dinner.
No.
Rory has been the number one critic of.
And I have a relation. Who served the
Oh, that's right.
the tournament dinner last night.
Oh,
It's for
really?
members only. They wear their blazers. They bring their spouses. And Condi Rice was at the head table. And I'm going to get reports all week from this person who's working in the secret club
Wow.
right off the Fifth Fairway, where only the guys like William or Bill Gates goes, or Michael Jordan and guys like that.
Wow.
Is she having further supervision?
I wondered about the lodging and was told that there's a house full of
young people?
people renting a house. I said, Katie, bar the door.
Yes. Well, yeah, that'll be fun. Yes, it will. It will. The house over there on the left, remember when Rory hit his tee-ball over there and blew the tournament?
Right near the Eisenhower cabin.
I went over there one day, the Eisenhower cabin, when Reed and Jane were staying there, because Reed was the president of the USGA, and it's a
Did Roy hit it at the Eisenhower cabin?
hit it around the corner and between the two.
It's hard to do.
He hit it between two of the cabins over there and blew the golf tournament right on the 10th tee. Was it on the last day? I think so.
Yes.
He'll never win a Masters. Can't putt. Not a great enough putter. He's had chances, but he'll never win it.
I saw this morning that Tiger has the 27th best odds. Can that be right?
I can't believe he should be bet on. He can't walk.
Yes. Yeah.
Can't walk. He's there because the Masters, and like you've said,
Yes.
if he does win another major, which is unlikely now, it would have to be the Masters.
It would have to be there. But that walking up and down those hills can't be good for that foot.
No.
That's for sure. My guy Hollis insists that there are rumors Tiger will play the senior tour.
Really?
Because he can ride a cart.
I can't see it.
He might play the Senior Open and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Hollis says, I'm telling you, that's what they're saying. He
He's
told
way
Ernie.
too
He
vain.
told Ernie, I'll see you out there.
No way.
Because Ernie's
No
out
way.
there. Ernie's out there making money.
Right.
But
What weekend is his tournament going to be? Hollis's.
this one, he's a regular PGA tournament.
Right.
He has seniors in Sioux Falls and places like that, but it's the last week of July.
Last week of July.
This year.
Okay.
And it's one of the non-designated, but it's also close enough to, they reduced the number of people that get to go into the playoffs from 125 to 70. So there's going to be more players. You're not going to get the elite, but there's going to be more players that you heard of
that are going to need
because they're
points.
trying to get into the 70s. They're 82nd and they got to come here and try to win or something. So it might be an okay field. It won't be a great field, but it'll be an okay field.
Is Buxton always going to be the DH?
Looks like it for quite a while. But as I said, Joe, I was damn proud that Rocco sucked it up and put Buxton back in the lineup Sunday,
Yeah, second day in a row.
even though he slid on his belly and got sand and dirt in his face on Saturday, and we had
Noble. It's
to
very noble.
take a pause. And Rocco, I'm sure he had to arm wrestle with Rocco to let him play, but he got in back in the lineup. Wouldn't it be something if he's playing again tonight after that long road trip?
You want to make
Miami?
a should we bet?
If he comes back having played 6 out of 6 games, I might have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I'd be so shocked that this guy. Do you know what happened Saturday?
What?
Historic event. It was the first time that Rocco had played the exact same lineup 2 games in a row since sometime in the middle of 2021.
Really?
Last year, they never had the same exact lineup 2 games in a row.
Is that true?
That's true.
Wow.
That's what they said.
Well, I suppose because they've always, that
Now,
makes
that
sense.
Might be,
Who pitched yesterday,
might
Sonny?
mean positions or something.
No,
Joe
Ryan.
Ryan
Joe
pitched.
Ryan.
How
Sonny
long did he
pitched
let Joe
Saturday.
go? 6 innings?
Yeah, Joe went 6.
Oh,
which was,
boy, that's long. That is long.
And Sonny, Sonny should have gotten taken out because he was wild and walking guys and wasn't sharp. But Pablo Lopez did look good. Good Thursday, and watching the game with Tom Kelly. Tom Kelly loves the changeup.
Oh, yeah.
And Pablo threw a couple of those, and he went, changeup.
That's excitement for Tom.
Tom, yes. It is. Yeah, it is. Look,
what did he think of what does he think of today's game?
Oh, he loves it. He loves the speed-up rules.
Good.
That's
good.
That's him. He wanted the game to move along. That was always his, let's get this thing moving here. He's the one that said, as Joe points out, you ban Velcro.
Yeah.
Keep these guys from going out. He hates the armor, as he calls it. He lets the hitters.
I do too.
He lets the hitters go up there like they're.
Oh, you need a wardrobe guy to go to first.
Okay,
all the crap back.
Yeah.
I thought of you. We are in Bradenton, Pirates Twins. It's the last game of spring training on Tuesday. This guy for Pittsburgh took the elbow guard off, the wrist guard off. Then he had something underneath here that I was unfamiliar with. And I looked at my wife and I said, Joe would go on the field.
You need a wardrobe
and
guy.
find this guy $250,000.
I'd find him $250,000.
Once the at-bat's over, there should be a 5-second limit of taking your crap off, else you can't go to first base.
No.
You're out.
Oh, we changed our mind. That's not ball
Anything you
4.
wear that takes longer than 5 seconds should be banned.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Keep the speed-up rules going, damn it.
I was sitting next to this old-time Pirates fan, great old-time baseball fan. I said, how's your club? He goes, we're going to be horse bleep again this year. He says, but I've been here half the games.
Did the 6'6" shortstop play the 6'7"?
No, he did not. Not the game that I was at.
Joe, you got to see this guy. He's a hot prospect. He's a really good player. He came up in the middle of last year. He's, I think, 6'7", right?
What's his last name again?
Why can't he be a pitcher with that height?
Well, but I'd rather watch him play shortstop. If he can play every day, he's supposed to really be good. So
that's too big for a shortstop.
I like the Bradenton ballpark.
That's one of my favorites.
A lot of people don't
I've never been to Bradenton.
Oh, Bradenton.
What coast is that on?
It's just north of Sarasota.
Next to Sarasota.
Oh,
right
okay.
next to Sarasota.
But their ballpark is great. It's right in the middle of a neighborhood, and it's really family friendly.
But for some reason, and it's not that close to the water, but the wind. The wind is always howling.
Home of the Bradenton Marauders.
Is that Marauders?
Marauders or Marauders?
Is it? I heard
Could be Marauders.
I thought they pronounced it Marauders.
Could be they don't know how to pronounce it.
In fact, it was their 100th season of baseball in Bradenton.
Really?
They had a really cool monument out past where the bullpens are. That was really neat.
The Pirates have been there forever.
Yeah.
The Pirates.
It was pretty cool.
100 years ago, it was only 1923.
There you go.
But just not that long ago, 100 years ago was, 1898 or something like that. See, now it's the 100 years is getting closer.
Yes, it is. You know what?
You understood what I meant, didn't you?
I hate to say this because I've made the same.
100 years ago, it's catching up to us.
I was talking the other day, and I was talking about the Marshall Cloquet basketball game 50 years ago.
Yeah,
then I said,
that's nothing.
No,
that's
wait.
1973.
Then I said, no, wait. It was 60 years ago. It wasn't 50 years ago. I'm writing about something that happened 60 years ago.
You know what that was on par with? You know, those hotels would be screwed without that ocean there.
No, but 100 years ago is not what it used to be.
No, it is. Honest to God, I've had the same thought.
Honest to God. It's getting frightening, really.
I mean, here's the deal.
Yes.
The Twins opened in Kansas City in 1974, my first year on the beach.
That's a long time. That's damn near 50 years.
I got to tell you this. I'm thinking 1974.
49 years.
Kansas City's got the great team, the track team, the track team, right?
Yeah.
Brett and Willie Wilson and those guys. And I think Willie might not even been there yet. But the Twins opened the season They're horrible in spring training. They opened the season with a 6-4 victory. I didn't have to look this up. The tie is broken when Sergio Ferrer, remember him? Little guy, scores from second on a sacrifice fly. Amos Otis catches the ball, goes down to his knees, and Sergio scores. The Twins win 6-4. The next day, they get beat 23-6.
Wow.
23-6. Bill Hands, who was one guy I drank with, they just brought him in. That was his first start. And then they get rained out on Sunday. So they come home getting outscored 27-12 with a split. You know? We go back there in August for the next time we go back there, 17-3. So 2 games in a row, 40 runs. And Vic Alberry, now the late great Vic Alberry, I loved him, Fast Victor. They made him wear it. You know, he pitched 5. He was second pitcher. He went 5 innings, gave up 10 runs. Called the press box to complain that one of them should have been unearned. And he gave up 10 runs. That's when you just called directly from the clubhouse. Right. And then I think it was the next day, we're downtown Kansas City at the Muhlenbach Hotel, and there's a adult movie place down the street, and that smash hit starring Linda Lovelace is Victor's out of money because it's the end of the road trip. I got to give Victor 10 to go see this classic art film. So that's back when sports writers were making as much as bottom run ball players.
That's right. That's right.
Vic was out of his role.
All right, so here's what I've got for our title for today's edition: worst officiated NCAA game ever, comma. We love baseball's new rules, comma. And 100 years ago isn't as far away as it used to be.
That's far away.
But that point is, I'm writing about this like it's fresh in my mind, and it's 49 years ago.
Right.
You know? How the hell old am I? God almighty. It's unbelievable.
It is amazing. Are you going to see the Wild tonight?
Yes.
You are?
I am. I'm going to go see the Wild, yep. We'll write a column for Wednesday. I don't have to write one for...
The Vegas has got themselves a good club.
It's a nice club.
Yeah.
And we're making a big deal about we haven't beat them yet. We only played him twice, right?
Yeah, right. But the other time was here, and didn't they get blown out here too against Vegas?
I don't know. I'm not worried about this team. It's got a different vibe. It's got we're tough. But
nobody in the West has been assigned a playoff certainty yet. How can that be? Is it
Vegas
that close?
Vegas has clinched a spot, I thought.
But they're not in the West. Oh, I'm sorry. They're in the Pacific. They're in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Declan, our guy Declan, who's a producer down there, said that he noticed that it appears that Kaprizov's ankle is still well swollen, even though he skated. He was at the basketball game Friday night.
That's what I heard.
And let's give a little credit to the Timberwolves.
Why?
Since 2004, they've been a little bit disappointing, right?
I'll say.
Yeah.
They were disappointing before that, and then they
just think that's almost 20 years ago.
Yes, yeah, right. It is. Well, yesterday, Joe, they lose the game to the Lakers on Friday night. Huge crowd. They took down the curtain. They had 19,000 in there, and they played great the first half and stunk the second half. Yesterday, the Portland Trailblazers come to town. They have nobody playing. They're trying to lose. And they are the Wolves were originally 17-point favorites. At tip-off, everybody saw that nobody was playing for Portland. They were 19.5-point favorites. They lost. It was the biggest margin in point spread for a team to lose, maybe at home or maybe to lose anywhere.
At home.
In what?
30.
1996.
It was 30 years.
So it was 30 30 years ago.
They're almost 30 years ago.
Almost 30 years ago for a team to suck it up and lose.
In fact,
worse than this.
I caught a bit of the game on the radio, like Joe did.
Alan Horton.
Well, it was great because Horton said, I forget which random player for the Blazers chucked up a three and said, "Well, that must have been a message from above," meaning he also was implying that all these Portland guys were trying to lose the basketball game.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Oh God, what a loss! What a loss! Unbelievable. Now if they get in, they'll be like 10 seed.
Oh.
And have to, oh man, what a disgusting franchise.
It really is.
Yeah.
Are they wearing those? Are those Pride jerseys they're wearing?
City Connect.
No,
City
Connect.
Connect.
Those aren't Pride jerseys.
Well, they're all the colors though.
Yeah, it's City Connect.
It's the City Connect edition of the Wolves uniform.
Yeah, that'll help
It's
them.
not Pride.
Yeah.
It's not. I think we're proud, but I don't think that's Pride.
Right.
So. Hey, one other thing. Billy Hafner died.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Refereed a lot of basketball
really
games
did.
and a lot of football games. And he and the bride who's still alive, 72 years of wedded bliss.
That doesn't seem that long ago. Hell, that's in the 40s. That's in the 40s.
It's in the yeah,
The Marooners have been playing longer.
No, it's not in the 40s. It's in the 50s.
Yeah, the Korean War was
Yes, it was in the 50s.
Oh, my God. The Korean War.
1951.
I think you got to put in there. Joe and Pat realize it was all that they're talking
Everything
about
they've done is they remember.
They're talking about stuff that happened a long time ago.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable. We short and punchy. Let's go.
Short and punchy.
All right.
Goodbye.
We'll see you later.
God damn, that was good. You've heard me discuss my relationship with Josh Arnold for some time. The reason I advocate that you give Josh a call is simple. Trust and results. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions. As has been said through all of our relationship, past results do not guarantee future returns. And while that is true, Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. You can understand that Josh will make sure you are not paying more in fees than you are seeing in returns. Yes, that is more common than you would like to think. Do yourself a favor and have a booking with Josh for the 48-minute free evaluation. This is a no-obligation meeting. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. You will be glad that you did.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Royce is a paid endorser.